Alright, before you skip to the end of this video and just look at the tier list, I do want to say that a majority of the value that I'm making from this video just comes from the information that I have about these units. If you want to just skip to the end, you might as well just click on other YouTubers tier list, because you could just look at all of them and be able to know, generally speaking, which ones are good and which ones are not, right? This is me going in depth, right? This is the goal. So let's just like get into it, because honestly, we're wasting both of our time right now. First off, farm. Literally, Speedwagon is the only one. You're gonna use him. I don't think there's a world in which you don't. Right now, he's quite bad in terms of like return value. Like we've seen like Eugen and like Anime Last Stand. He gives like a crazy amount of like return value. You always want to like spam farm him as much as possible. Speedwagon is still good enough to the point where you want to have him in basically every team, because generally speaking, you're not struggling that much in the mid game for you to not want to invest a little bit. So always have this guy in as much as you can. Fortune also is like pretty good. If I remember correctly, there are some situations where you're able to put down an extra Speedwagon, like on like wave, what is it, wave 2, I believe. So, yeah. Now supports. There are currently 3 units we can technically call supports that aren't just complete dog water. We have Pain, we have Crocodile, and we have Sasuke, right? These 3 units are interesting because they have different status effects. Pain does a repulsion. From what I can understand, it lasts 1 second, so they walk backwards for that 1 second, and it has a 20-second cooldown duration. It's like all right. The main issue that I have with it is that it's just very inconsistent. You'll see like a lot of situations where you just don't really want it because it attacks so slow. It attacks so slow, and unless you give it a SBA of 10, right, it's going to be knocking them back every 3. It's going to be knocking back that same unit every 3 attacks, and that's just bad. And honestly, I don't even know what situation you'd use that in, because Pain has a really low range. So a generally cheaper alternative is what is it? Crocodile. Crocodile is really nice. He is a 50% slow, and I believe this the slow lasts for 3 seconds, and it is from what I've seen, like an 8-second CC immune duration. I actually think that Crocodile is the most consistent one out of all of these 3. He's very good. I've seen a lot of people say that he's actually better than Sasuke, but I'll talk about that later. But I use him all the time. Now, Sasuke is where things get interesting, because he's actually not objectively the best. There is wiggle room to say that Crocodile is better. I'd say Pain is just bad. First off, if you haven't noticed yet, status effects have different CC immune durations. So what do I mean by that? I essentially mean that you can stack stun, you can stack stun with slow, you can stack slow with repulse, you can stack stun with repulse, etc., etc. Right? And this is because they all have different CC immune durations. Now, I'm going to go ahead and recap. Pain will reverse their movement for 1 second and has a 20-second immune duration. Crocodile slows for 50% for 3 seconds and has an 8-second immune duration. Sasuke will stun for 1 second and will have a God, what is it? I believe it was like 14 seconds. I did some testing on it because I was really confused because I thought it'd be 15, but it was always really weird because I would be able to hit a second stun before 15 seconds, and it was always like 14.4, 14.3. It was fucking weird. Okay. What the point is this? Generally speaking, these guys all have varying levels of intensity, if that's what you want to call it, right? Like, so from like least intense to most intense, slowing by 50%, that's pretty good. Stunning, which means slowing by 100%, right? And then Pain slows by negative 100% because they move backwards, right? And they each have CC immune durations to fit that. So I think what we should really be looking at is damage. And Sasuke just does a lot of damage. Not that much that he beats a lot of the other mythics. I'd say, I'll show you where I think he ranks, but like in terms of DPS, but I think he's actually really, really good. I think he's a good replacement for Crocodile, and I can't be 100% sure on this because honestly, I've seen nobody run Sasuke. It's really weird, but I think he is one of the best. And all you have to do really is just put him on last so that he keeps stunning over and over again, right? Pain also has that sort of thing going on, but the difference is that first he has a really small range, and second off he's full AoE, so he was already doing that in the first place. There was no way to optimize that sort of thing, right? Sasuke has the ability to optimize that because he has higher range, and he's able to increase that range with and actually be reasonable about it. There's something else I wanted to bring up. Oh, right. Because of how CC immune durations work and base SPA, all three of these units have attacks where they just don't fucking do anything, and there's no way to delay it. So I'd rather just decrease it, right? For Pain, there's not really a way to do that. You could try to decrease it to 10 seconds, so that way he repulses every other attack. But I don't think there's a reason to really optimize it. I think he just kind of sucks. With Crocodile, you technically want to optimize it, but if you just upgrade him like one time, he will lower his SBA. So if you really need some wiggle room with that, that's pretty easy. Sasuke is really weird because he actually increases his SBA upon upgrades. So you can upgrade him in once to increase the damage, and after that, it'll jump to like 6.7, and then it'll decrease, and then it'll like get a slight increase again. And it roughly culminates around like 5 or 6 seconds, if I remember correctly, or maybe it's 6 to 7. But the point is that it's higher than the initial like 4.5 seconds that he actually has. So honestly, it's kind of weird because you kind of just want to keep Sasuke at level 0. Which I think is good, because that's the best. If the best way to optimize him is to just keep him at that level, then why not, right? And if you max him out, and I mean, he's technically still stunning every 3 attacks, and he'd be stunning every 1 attack if you just put him on last and he just like keeps stunning every wave that comes in. I think that's fine. So I see a lot of people underrating Sasuke, and it makes me really sad because, guys, this is a mythical. Are we really? I just think it's weird. I think people will have this thing in their head where they just assume that like lower rarity supports are just like always really, really good. Or I don't know, maybe they like the idea of like a budget support unit, right? And I think that's true. Crocodile is very good. It's just that Sasuke's better, right? Now, here's the thing. Sasuke takes investment. You have to evolve him. I wouldn't recommend evolving him. I would actually recommend evolving your Sun Jin Woo, then evolving your Igris, then evolving your Alucard, right? But if you don't have Igris or Alucard, like me, I don't have either of those. Maybe upgrade Chain or Haruka or Sasuke. I think those 3 are really good options. So, but yeah, that's about it. The reason I'm talking about this a lot is because I see a lot of people not ranking Sasuke above Crocodile, and I find it really confusing. And generally speaking, Sasuke would be better anyway because he does like way more damage. So anyway, that rant's over, okay? Let's talk about the DPS side of things. Because generally speaking, none of these really have support capabilities. They just have some like niche things that give them some wiggle room in terms of DPS. Now I'm just going to tell you this right now. Naruto fucking sucks. It's just stats. And if you just wanted stats, just use Sun Jin Woo. I don't get it. You know what I mean? He's shit on Evo'd, if you're a beginner, because his SPA reduction is not that good, and it requires you to not attack for at the beginning, so placing him down early feels kind of shit. And then when you evolve him, he gets that stupid 36% like damage increase, like anybody gives a fuck. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't think people have really been saying that he's good, but he's definitely the worst. I don't know why there's any debate on that. Second, or I guess second worst, Vegeta. Vegeta did get a buff. Yay, yippee! He's still dog shit though. Like in terms of like possibility of getting meta, absolutely 0. You'd never want to use this guy. Here's the thing, right? I could see him getting usage in some sort of like raid or future content. If you don't know, he gets double damage when he's hitting only 1 unit at a time. That's never going to happen unless it's a boss. So when we get some sort of meaningful progressive mode that we really care about, then we can start focusing on that. I think with Paragon right now, the early game is harder than the late game, from what I've seen. That's just my personal experience. Um, but if you're struggling with killing those bosses, it could be used for that. Like, I think it's just like the Disneyland version of this guy is like, hey, what, he does so much single target damage though. He could be used for like Paragon 25 when the boss has like 3 trillion HP, but people already beat Paragon 25 though, right? If you're already at that level and Vegeta Evo is like your it's like this niche unit that you want to use, just use like Icarus and Sun Jin-woo. You'll be fine. Like, I think there's a niche scenario, right? But if you're in that niche scenario, you should probably already have better stuff, or at least good enough stuff to beat it without him. So just don't use him. Just don't fucking use him. Like, whatever, bro. Okay, next. First off, I will say, Sasuke, I believe, is in between Vegeta and Naruto, somewhere near there. I'd say Obito's better, but Obito's third worst. Why? Here's the thing. Obito actually provides a bit more value than Vegeta in terms of support, because his final upgrade has 16 multi-hits. I really like that. Because I really like running Paragon with shielded. Now that's a really niche scenario. Same with Vegeta, but he does have slightly higher damage. His burn is actually pretty quick. The burn disappears before the next attack, so there's that. And if you have 2 of them, yeah, that can be a bit bothersome. But generally speaking, I'd only be using this guy for the multi-hit and for like the decent damage if you just need that. I think he's just a good generalist. Now Cha Heian or whatever I forgot her fucking name. I don't really watch solo leveling, but I'd say she's pretty good. The main thing that makes her strong is the 270-degree AoE thing. We haven't really seen any good full AoE units yet. Alucard gets full AoE technically, but like he loses it, so like who gives a fuck? And the main thing that makes me interested in her is just the whole like boss killer thing. I don't think it's really that useful, but like it's not terrible. Like I could see some beginner usage for that sort of thing, but in terms of like meta end game stuff, I wouldn't use her. That's why we put these in pseudo meta, right? But I'd say for all of these guys, the niche scenarios that you would use them in, I guess I should talk about that. For Cha-In, I would just say if you need a good unit, just get her. She's not that bad. Obito's the same thing. I'd mentioned the Paragon shielding. Other than that, like, if you need it, I'd say Vegeta's the same as well. And then don't get Naruto. Just spin on someone else. You can wait 1 hour. Be patient. Now lastly, we got the 3 big guys, and also Haruka Rin. I forgot to put her in here. She does 18% damage, 20% range. I forget she stacks, but good value. I really like her. She's good even at 18%. And generally speaking, I think you'd want... I don't think it matters if they stack, if I can keep it real. A lot of the times, like, if you're placing a lot of units down, like, you kind of need to. It just depends on how many people are in your party. But, she's good. Between Sasuke and Rin, like, they're different categories of support, if that makes sense. Would I bring her? I'd say she's good. I've seen a lot of people bring her. My guess is that if you have one of these guys, I'm just going to put these up here right now. This is not in order. But if you have one of these guys, but you don't have all 3 of them, might as well just bring Rin. Because right now there's 6 slots. You know you're going to bring Speedwagon. You're not going to bring at least 1 support other than Rin. And then you're going to bring 3 of these guys. So I guess you could bring Rin. Or you could bring 2 support units. Or you could bring another DPS. So those are the options. So I guess why not, right? I don't know. I actually didn't do any research on Rin. That's why I'm kind of going off the cuff right now. I know I said give in-depth information. She's just not really that interesting. If people use her, then you'll know that she's good. I guess. Now we got the meta units. These are the ones that are going to be put in the top teams, right? I believe it goes something like this, maybe like this. Actually, it kind of is in order. Alucard is just like objectively the worst. I'll give some context because I know that people don't really know the numbers for these sorts of things. Alucard has like these first off, he does bleed damage like 25%. Nothing crazy. Nobody really gives a fuck. Also he gets 20% if an enemy into like walking to the area is bleeding, then he gets 20% extra damage on them. A lot of units actually do this. Itachi does this. He does more damage against burned enemies. Sasuke does more damage against stunned enemies. So they made his passive super fucking complicated. I think it's because everybody deals 20% more damage to them. Something like that. So I guess if anything, you could count him as a support. I don't really know how you'd explain that though. Um, Now these are interchangeable. Like I don't know too much about their damages. But I will tell you is that you're gonna use both of them together. Everyone's been saying that they have like direct synergy, which is kind of interesting. Iris is really funny because he gets like 90% damage max, like a 90% damage boost, which is fucking nuts. Okay, like 30% he just gets off rip, and then like I believe another, you get 40% from hitting a boss, and then you get 20 if a shadow walks into the range, something like that. So it's pretty good. Sun Jin Woo is always going to be the unit to go for. I think everybody knows that. Right? Honestly, I'm just gonna keep it a stack. It doesn't fucking matter which like what order I put this in, because you're just gonna use Sun Jin Woo, right? And then if you have Igris, you're gonna use Sun Jin Woo and Igris. So it doesn't fucking matter, okay? Whatever. I don't know. I'm basically done. Like, there's nothing else to really talk about here. I think the main thing I would say is don't be afraid to use these or to roll for these three. They're not that bad. And if you're a casual player, you're not gonna be getting Igris, you're not gonna be getting Alucard. Igris takes kind of a long time to grind for. So unless you want to get like use like an AFK method or something, I believe the 50% range, like when you have an actual 50-50 chance of getting him, I believe it takes like 90 tries. So like I if I were you, I would not. I would not. Actually, yeah, that's the entire thing. I wouldn't. So, yeah. Sun Jin Woo's goated. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I need to give some context on summons. I forgot to do that. Alucard, he gets... I'm trying to remember because I saw a video about it earlier. He gets He gets 4 small guys and then 6 little guys. Or, sorry, 6 big guys. The big guys, each of them have 50% of his original attack. And then the small guys have, I believe, 25%. No, it was lower. Dude, I don't fucking remember. I think it was 15. Because Alucard had 8k attack in the video that I watched. Big guys had 4k, small guys had 1k. So I guess I could just say 1/2 and 1/8. But it's roughly around like 350% of his original attack, right? Am I saying that correctly? Let me think. No, I'm saying that correctly. I'm smart. I know everything. Sun Jin Woo is better in comparison. He gets 5 of the big guys, which each are 100% of his original attack, and then he gets a bunch of little guys that really don't do that much damage, so don't worry about it. I believe it's based on the base HP of the units. So, when I mean base HP, I mean like base HP. Like they have 100 HP, 400 HP. You can see in the enemy index like how much their HP multiplier is. Like they apply that HP multiplier and that's fucking it. So a lot of the times they don't really do that much. Am I missing anything else? No, not really. Also I'm gonna put this up here because I really like Sasuke. I think he's funny. Okay, that's about it.